I'm at the stage of my trailer where I want to start framing up my floor and then sheeting it.
Now you may recall that the original thickness of my floor was 1 5/8 inches, made up of 1/4 inch of plywood, 1 1/4 inches of styrofoam, and then basically door skin underneath that. I want to maintain the same thickness, and so in order to achieve that, I'm going with 3/8 plywood over top of 1 1/4 inch floor joists. However, when I ripped my first 2x4, which was straight, it turned out like a banana. And so I wasn't able to use that method after meticulously picking out a bunch of straight 2x4s to make my floor joists out of. So I decided to go to the thickness planer and reduce them all down on the flat to 1 1/4 inch. I didn't want to do that at first. I thought it was going to take a long time, but it actually went pretty quickly, and within 45 minutes I had them all down. The downside is that now I had to buy twice as many 2x4s to get the job done. Anyway, I now have all the nice straight 2x4s, which are now 1 1/4 inch thick, bound together so they don't warp, bend, or twist, and I can go ahead and start constructing my floor.
Well, let me catch you up on how I'm going to try and accomplish what I need to do inside the trailer.
So while it would have been nice to be able to completely gut the trailer and then do each step one at a time, I couldn't do that. Because I needed floor to walk on, because the cabinet there does not fit out the door, I needed to work in sections. And so I took the flooring out of this first section, and when I've got the floor restored in here, then I'll be able to move the kitchen cabinet into this area and continue on. But yeah, that wood block right there. I think I mentioned earlier that that was the only thing that was actually providing a mechanical I want to say adhesion, but attachment of the floor to the ladder frame underneath. Those wood chunks were incorporated into the styrofoam floor, just as blocks, that's it. And so once that all collapsed, I had nothing but gravity holding the box onto the frame. So I've started framing. I have to do it a little differently from one side to the other, because over on the right side there, that's not aluminum channel that I'm butting up against. It's actually plastic wire chases, and so I was able to frame up on the left side here and bolt that straight into the base of the wall, which is a 1 1/4 or 1 1/2 inch square aluminum tubing. But on the other side, I'm not able to do that. But man, I'm sure loving this pocket jig that I got, because that allows me to really make a strong point of connection. And I'm not toenailing or screwing in at goofy angles trying to make it work. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm running my 1 1/4 inch flat floor joists straight across the ladder frame, and tying into the side of the wall where I'm able to, and I'll be insulating it and then sheeting it with 3/8 plywood.
Pretty straightforward, actually. It's not really complicated. And I'm starting in the easiest place because I kind of want to get a rhythm going. I want to get kind of figured out before I get into the more complicated areas, because where I've got stuff on the floor, hot water tank, plumbing, whatnot, I'm going to have to work around it, go underneath it where I can. I'm reticent to gut the whole trailer to put this floor in, wall to wall, all the way around, and put everything back. The reason being is because the trailer's a bit of a beater, right? It's an old trailer. I just need to make it serviceable. I'm not gonna do anything that's gonna like increase its value, other than the fact that it'll be usable, where currently and previously it had reached a point where it wasn't. I just have to make it so we can use it, get a few years out of it, and then say goodbye to it. It'll be a working trailer, and I can sell it to somebody in good conscience, fully disclose how I repaired the floor and whatnot. They can just watch the videos and they can see everything that I did. Got 4 weeks. My mom passing away in January kind of threw me off for a couple months. I was too busy doing other things. I had to park this project, and I'm coming back to it now. The date today is April 13th, and I want to have this ready for the May long weekend, which is like May 18th, 19th, 20th, right there. So I literally got 4 weeks to do this. I work full time, so I don't have 4 full weeks. I've got basically 4 weekends to do this. So giddy up.
So something else that I needed to work out, and I've actually come up with a fairly simple solution, and I think it'll be effective for anything I need to do for the length of time I needed to do it for. I need to create a way in which that floor, the original floor, is tied in to this floor. And it needs to be tied in a way that when I load my storage area with heavy things, that it doesn't flex the floor. Not that it had a whole lot of help with the floor that was in this area before, because this was all compromised, and that is not, that's underneath there. I still need to tie it in such a way so that any load is picked up by this. And I think I have a simple solution. I could have torn all of this out as well and just redone the floor right up to the nose of the trailer. And yeah, I guess that would be the ideal way to do it, but that section of the floor was not compromised. It was still good, and so it would have been extra work that actually wasn't necessary to accomplish what I need to do, and that is just get a working trailer for the next few years.
So you'll find that when you're doing a project like this, there's a lot of different things that factor into the choices that you make along the way. One of them is your budget. Another one is the amount of time you have to do it. Another one is what's your end goal. This will never be a trailer that's going to appreciate in value. It'll be like 99% of the other trailers out there. It doesn't say Airstream or Bigfoot or Escape on the side of it, so it's not going to appreciate in value. I just need it to last for a few more years and be safe in the process. And so you make choices within those parameters to accomplish what you need to accomplish without taking shortcuts. And while some of you looking at this might say, well, hey, he is taking a shortcut because he's not replacing the whole floor. The area that I am choosing to replace, I'm doing it well and I'm doing it properly. So if it's a shortcut that I'm not doing 100% of the floor, then we'll all call it a shortcut and move on. So be it. And here's my solution. What you're looking at is an aluminum threshold from a door. This is going to slip underneath the existing floor. And I've just hit it with a whole bunch of screws all the way down in a pattern. And while it wouldn't be strong enough to support 1,000 pounds of weight, it will provide the support that I need for this flooring here along that edge where the new flooring meets up with the old flooring. It'll slide underneath, and I wanted my solution to not compromise the vapor barrier that's already in place that protects the underside of the trailer and the flooring and everything. I didn't want to compromise it, so I needed something that would be able to slip in underneath there. A piece of aluminum is lightweight, it's strong, and so I think that will accomplish what I needed to do. All right, that'll work. You can see my pocket screws down there, and I'm just going to put one in here, even though I pre-drilled for two. This frame is really hard, and it's hard to get these in, but I managed it. And that is super strong, not going anywhere. And you can see my strip of aluminum that is tucking underneath the storage compartment area floor. A couple of things to bear in mind if you're ever cutting pieces like this. Do yourself a favor and use a miter saw that you have confirmed is an accurate 90 degrees, because otherwise you will just be, everything will be wonky and it won't be as strong. But if you've got a nice, perfect 90 and nice pocket holes, that joint is really, really strong and it's square. Okay, when I come back to this, I will be ready to trim that foam along there, insulate the rest of it, and then sheet this. And I will have 4 feet of new floor. And once I have that, then then I embark on the even uglier side of things. Well, check this out. There actually was a floor joist spanning the width of the trailer. I don't know if you can see it. There's a 1.5 inch square aluminum tube going right there. It's broken, but there was one here. Surprised me, actually. I didn't expect it. I'm into a different part of the floor now. And when I say different, I mean, well, there was, like, that part back there was mush. I don't know if you recall. So when this slide leaked, it must have been a leak from that side over there that just kind of obliterated everything down there. And, you know, the moisture gets trapped under the floor and it just kind of deteriorates it. It rots it away. There was a little bit of water damage in areas down here. And I guess at one point in time, maybe the water heater had leaked. But for the most part, like, this is hard to take up. I'm trying to retain as much of the insulation as possible. That's why you see the styrofoam insulation in the gaps. I haven't pulled the panel off of that one yet, but it's hard to get off. It hasn't all failed. There was only a small spot, I don't know if you can see it, where it's kind of smooth right there. That had become detached. The rest of it, it's all pocky looking because it was still adhered to the insulation. But I have to take it off to sheet new material over top of it. I don't want to put new material over top of old flooring. I want to take it down to the studs, so to speak, even though the studs that are there are the ones that I'm putting in. Joists, actually. Studs are in walls. But yeah, I am almost at the point where I can start sheeting the floor. Well, I have to insulate, but I can start sheeting the floor back to here. As for the type of insulation that I'm going to put in, well, it'll be a variety. This is not a 4-season trailer. It will never be a 4-season trailer. It's about a 2.5-season trailer. And so I've got some fiberglass insulation and I have some rock salt insulation just from other projects. So I'm just going to use up what I have and insulate between the cavities with what I have. Now, bearing in mind that they thought they didn't need one at all, this is what passes for a floor joist in the minds of the Dutchman Aerolite trailer builders. Unreal. Okay, this area is now fully framed and ready for insulation. And as I mentioned, I'll be using leftover insulation, and so I have this left over from my hot tub project. And this is actually the insulation I would have chose anyway, because it's probably some of the best stuff out there. It is soundproof, it is fireproof, it is water repellent, it is bug repellent. They don't like to live in it. Things don't like to nest in it. It's good stuff. My only wish, though, is that I had more of it. I now need to switch to fiberglass. And this is how you get creative when you want to glue and screw your piece of plywood down, but you need to dry fit it first, and then you got to figure out some way to kind of hold it up in the air so that you can put your adhesive down where you need to put it before laying the sheet back down again. For my adhesive, I've chosen to use a polyurethane foam construction adhesive because, one, it sticks to everything, and two, if there are any little void areas or imperfections anywhere, it'll fill those gaps and serve as a bridge between the two pieces that I'm gluing, as well as glue things tight. I think this is probably my best choice, all things considered. And as I'm discovering, it's also very nice to apply. And the largest sheet that is going in is in.
I realize it's only one sheet of plywood at this point, but considering where I started and how rough this floor was, it's very satisfying. But while I started the day with the sun shining, things have changed quite a bit. Well, I'm gonna call it a day. I just finished cleaning up because the weather has turned a little bit. Look at that tree behind me. Windy. So what did we get done?
Finished framing out the floor, at least half the trailer. Got the insulation down, glued and sheeted and screwed the plywood down. And I'm back to the point now where the next steps are to remove the kitchen. I'm just waiting for that adhesive to cure. And once that's done, I'll be able to do that. It's going to start pouring rain in a second here. The weather is completely turned. It was warm and clear skies when I started. It is now cloudy and windy, and the rain is just starting. So I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to say thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.